Schmack, oh my God, my friends, a sad day. Gary Rossington has passed away. For those that follow my channel, you know what a big Skynyrd fan I am. I made programs of what I thought of Skynyrd. The live album is my favorite double live album of all time. And it's a sad day. It's the last man standing from the original lineup that appeared on Pronounce. I know before, they even released a CD of like the Skynyrd stuff that's really cool too, with Ricky Medlock on drums and so on, and they're all gone. You know, I mean, from the Pronounce lineup, we're talking about Ronnie Van Zant died in a plane crash, and then Bob Burns died in a automobile accident. Alan Collins had many health issues, and he ended up in a wheelchair, and I saw him. Well, actually, I gotta say, I saw the Rossington Collins Band at the Miami Baseball Stadium, and that was a cool show, man. I mean, they did nothing but Rossington Collins stuff, but then at the end of the set, they played Freebird with no vocals. They just had a spotlight on the mic stand, and Gary Rossington doing that slide, that iconic slide in that song, and with Alan Collins on stage, and Billy Powell and Leon Wilkinson. You know, and I got to see that. And then I went to go see the Skynyrd reunion in 86. Was it 86, 87? Which had Artemis Pyle. Everybody was there, surviving members. Even Alan Collins, who at the time was stricken on a wheelchair, but he did come out and introduce the band. And it was a beautiful night. And then I never went to go see Skynyrd after that. See, I believe at the time when that show happened, it was like, you know, a tribute to original Skynyrd. But then they just continued as Leonard Skynyrd. And I did hear some of those records, some of those later records, and I'm like, this ain't Skynyrd to me. And I never saw them live again. Now, I would have went to go see them live for free, but I never had somebody give me a free ticket. But they've been down here several times after that. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you know, I mean, I love Gary Rossington, I love them all, but I just didn't have it in my heart to... Let me turn on that light. There, that's better. I didn't have it in my heart to go see it anymore, because to me, it's Ronnie Van Zant. Ronnie Van Zant to me is Leonard Skynyrd, but you know what? They didn't need me. You know, the majority of people out there don't care, and they'll go see a band that doesn't have key members, and they don't care about the new album. They just want to see Sweet Home Alabama, and you know, and that's cool. That's why they don't need me. So I didn't go. I didn't go to none of those shows, but I did see them. I saw Rossington Collins, and I saw the Skynyrd reunion in '86. I wish I could have seen the one with Ronnie Van Zant, because I do remember Street Survivors at the Hollywood Sportatorium, which was a few shows before the plane crash, and I wanted to go, but I was too young. I'll never forget the commercial on the radio saying, "Are you a street survivor? Leonard Skynyrd at the Sportatorium." I so wanted to go, because I was a huge Skynyrd fan, because, you know, everybody in my neighborhood at the time were rednecks, and they loved Skynyrd, and they turned me on to that stuff, and it's just sad, you know. Now, you know, there's this eerie picture I showed before of the original Skynyrd, where, as you can see, Gary Rossington's the last man standing, and now he's gone. And maybe they'll put an end to Skynyrd now. If they don't, hey, I know a lot of you people out there will go see it. I'm not one of them, and that's just my personal choice. But I applaud anybody out there that wants to see a tribute band, you know. But anyway. I also want to give a shout out to my friend Wendy Tipton, who at the moment is injured. And she texted me today telling me, you know, hey, would you do a ranking of the Skynyrd album since Gary Rossington passed away? And I did. I'm going to rank these, but I got to say, you know, I'm only ranking the stuff with Ronnie. I'm not familiar with that later stuff. I've heard some of it, and it's just not Skynyrd to me. But this is how I'm going to rank these albums. At the very bottom, and it's a great album. I don't think Skynyrd made a bad album with Ronnie Van Zant, but I'm just ranking them as I've seen them. I love Give Me Back My Bullets. I love that album, but I got to put it at the bottom, you know. Cry for the Bad Man. There's a lot of great songs on there. Love Give Me Back My Bullets, especially that title track, where I didn't realize for many years later, because if Ian Wadley from the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast, the greatest podcast ever that I'm part of, link is below, he's the one that brought up to me, no, that song, Give Me Back My Bullets, was about, you know, their first album was a hit, their second album had Sweet Home Alabama, then None and Fancy didn't really have any hits, so the next album, Give Me Back My Bullets, they're like, you know, give me back my bullet up the chart, you know, that's what it meant. But it's a great album, even though it's at my bottom. I love that one. The next one I would put is Nothing Fancy. I love this album, and Billy Powell giving the bird, pretty cool stuff. Saturday Night Special, On the Hunt, one of my favorites. I mean, it's an awesome album. They're all awesome. So Nothing Fancy will be in the next one. Then next after that, their last album, Street Survivors, with I Know a Little, one of my favorite Skinner songs. Don't Ask No Questions. Great stuff, man. I absolutely love that album. Now, as far as the top two, they changed. Because my number 2 used to be my number 1, but now it's my number 2. Second Helpings. My God, what an album. The Ballad of Curtis Lowe. I Need You. Needle in the Spoon. I can go on and on. That's a phenomenal album. And it was my favorite for the longest time, but now I gotta say my favorite is the first one. Pretty much a greatest hits with the exception of like Mississippi Kid and Poison Whiskey. The rest are hits. Tuesday's Gone, I Ain't the One, Freebird, you know, Simple Man. You know, Simple Man, talk about Gary Rossington. And Tuesday's Gone. I mean, he's the main soloist, and Gary wasn't like a shredder, he was all feel, man. And he played with such emotion and such greatness. And then you had, you had Ed King that was pretty much a shredder. I mean, that guy was probably technically the best out of the 3. But Alan Collins, his solo on Freebird, top-notch stuff, man. So Pronounce is my favorite of all the Skynyrd albums. But really, if you want to get technical, my favorite is the live one. You know, One More from the Road. But then there's also Golden Platinum, which had Dow Sal Junkin, a couple songs on there that weren't on albums. And I also have an album called First and Last that had some of Ricky Medlock stuff on there. And I know there's a CD of pre-pronounced Leonard Skinner stuff that's really good too. You know, I love all that stuff. I love Skynyrd, and it's very sad to hear the passing of Gary Rossington. I did get to see him live twice at least, you know, and I'm satisfied, to tell you the truth. I am satisfied. Yes, there was many great lineups that Huey from the Outlaws, Ricky Medlock, Blackfoot. I saw Blackfoot and the Outlaws, so I got to see them on their proper bands, but I never got to see them in Skynyrd, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I may have missed a great show, but I did not miss a Leonard Skinner show. I have missed Leonard Skinner, because that reunion I saw in '86 wasn't Leonard Skinner. I saw it as a tribute, I went there, and I loved it, but it wasn't Skynyrd. It's the way I feel, man. Ronnie Van Zant needs to be there. If not, it's not Skynyrd. It's just a tribute band. But for all those that love it and want to go see it, awesome. Good for you. I have no problem of people that want to see these bands that are really a shell of what they used to be. I don't care how good they are live. It's not Skynyrd. But rest in peace, Gary Rossington. Very sad day. He's had a lot of health problems through the years. Heart attacks and stuff. And I understand, like, the last few Skynyrd tours, he wasn't even there. So there was nobody up on stage that was an original member, unless you're counting the drummer that didn't play on any of the albums. But I'm going to stop bitching about that, because I shouldn't bitch, you know. People love that stuff, and more power to you. It's like the people that want to see Kiss on this farewell thing. You know, they want to see that Madison Square Garden for the farewell shows. More power to you. Not my thing, man. But why did I bring Kiss? I always have to bring Kiss into stuff, don't I? Anyway, I like Skynyrd more than Kiss. I'm a bigger Skynyrd fan than Kiss. That's for damn sure. Those albums I just talked about, amazing. Give Me Back My Bullets all the way to Pronounce. Love them all. Especially that live one. So, Wendy, I hope you're feeling better. And thank you so much. You're a great friend. And also everybody out there watching now, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate all of you. And if you like donate, I got a PayPal in the description below, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and ring that little notification bell, and please give this video a like. And stay frosty. Listen to Leonard Skinner, classic Leonard Skinner, and smack 'em a gob.